last offseason, I should say, was the fact that the whole offensive staff remained as it was from the previous year. And we had 2 seasons of being really top 5 in a lot of major categories, and I thought for sure a number of those guys would have more interest in getting poached and going elsewhere. But we were very fortunate. They were all come back. I think we got position coaches that are future coordinators and future head coaches, and I think we got some really good young coaches that are going to be ready to be position coaches sooner rather than later. And I'm saying all that because when I see a play like the one we had in the game last week, not only come to life and get executed like it did, but get the publicity that it did, really, Seth Ryan, Stephen Oliver, and JT Barrett, they've been in charge of our specials for not just this year, but for the last few years. And there's a reason why we have probably a little higher success rate for those special plays, and they're a big reason why. They have a ton of creativity. They bring a lot of ideas to the table. So I really want to start off here today by giving them a shout out. They've been doing a great job here for the last 3 years, and they're certainly deserving of more responsibility, not only here, but maybe elsewhere as well, wherever that opportunity unfolds.
When you say you're in charge of the specials, can you just explain that? What do they do to help?
Yeah, so every coach on staff, they have areas of expertise that we delegate on out, and they're really in charge of it. Hank's very heavily involved in the running game, obviously. Third down, red zone, everybody's kind of got their own spot where they're the expert of, because there's just so much film to watch. And as a coordinator, I'm trying to digest it all, but you can always go to that certain coach and get a good feel for the lay of the land and get you to step up before you have to dive through all the tapes. So those young guys, they've been in charge of those specials now for the last couple of years, and they certainly have some off-the-wall ideas at times, but it's pretty cool to see it all come to life.
AJ talked about that with Shep, how he felt like a responsibility to be developing him for the next opportunity when that comes. Do you kind of approach your position the same way? Obviously, you've got so much on your plate with orchestrating the offense, but do you take a mentorship of helping bring these guys up to what their next role might be?
Yeah, I might not be quite as, I don't want to say deliberate or intentional, because that's certainly a thought of mine each year in the off season. Once you get into the season, it gets a little bit harder to think about that. Your focus is solely on the players and the opponent at hand. But in the off season, a lot of thought's gone into developing the staff, what's going to help them grow as coaches, the detail. They got great work ethic. They're excellent teachers, and I think all those guys are very demanding of their position rooms, and that's a great starting point for all of them. But where can they grow beyond? You can only coach what you know, and so is it have Burnell learn a little bit more about Hank and the run game and what we're trying to get done there? Is it JT spending some time with Scotty Montgomery and what the backs are being taught in protection, so that when he has his own quarterback room, that transition is seamless? So yeah, there's a lot of that does go on, not maybe during the year, but in the off season, that professional development is a huge part of what we do.
Somebody's trick plays a little bit. I mean, how did that come up? We heard the player's perspective, but the stumble run play, where did that come from? Like, just your perspective on how that play came to life.
Yeah, I mean, you're watching tape and you see things happen, and listen, that one, honestly, I think the Penei pass is a little bit more special than that one personally. That one, that's a play that every team runs, and we just happened to put a little hot sauce on the ball handling. That was really how we kind of viewed that going into it. And so, yeah, we saw it on tape, and we saw they had some veteran linebackers, that particular crew, that could sniff things out pretty quickly and diagnose. And so we wanted to try to get their eyes away from what we were really trying to do. And so that was the magic behind that one. And Jared and Gibby and really the whole group, they did a heck of a job with it.
Looking at the coaches, how would you assess Scotty Montgomery and his readiness being? He's been a college coach, runs his running offense for college.
Yeah.
His next step, potential opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a unique perspective because he's been in that head chair at the college level, and you feel that when you're in the meeting room. He understands how lonely it can be at the top at times. I've been around head coaches that talk about, man, when you get up here, you're kind of isolated a little bit from the rest of the coaches, and I think he understands that. He's a great bridge between us and the head guy, and certainly for me as a coordinator, I sleep well at night because he provides he fills in the gaps wherever he sees that something might be lacking. So it's not something I take for granted. He's certainly ready to call plays. He's done that in the past. Just whenever he gets that opportunity, he'll do that. And I think he's going to be a heck of a great head coach one day, too, when he gets that chance.
In his first game was against the 49ers. The guy, he was a rookie, and he may have allowed a sack, but Bosa came out of that game saying that guy's going to be something special. Can you just reflect on how far Penei has come since that game? He was excellent. Obviously, he's a rookie, but where he is now.
Yeah, I think that first year, what I immediately flashed back to was less the San Fran game. It was more the Rams game. And he had a couple times where he went one-on-one with Aaron Donald, and he did not back down. In fact, they were towing the line right through the edge of the whistle and going back and forth. And so you saw the demeanor, you saw the attitude, you saw the intensity, everything that you thought you were getting with him coming out of Oregon. And from rookie year until now, all he's done is polish up his game in terms of technique, in terms of fundamentals, and honestly, I think it's the leadership portion that stands out more to me than any. He really is the tone setter for us on offense. You know what we're going to get each and every week. He's going to drive guys off the ball. He's looking to take souls out there.
We didn't know what to expect from Christian Mahogany. You obviously were seeing him on the practice field and felt comfortable with that decision. It looked like he was very natural and comfortable out there. What was your assessment of his performance after you went back to the film?
Yeah, he did a great job. He did. We know he's got an excellent first step. He beats the opponent off the ball, and then what showed up is what you saw at Boston College, which is the cleaning of the pocket and playing with a little nasty to him, which we certainly embrace. Hank Fraley likes to think it reminds him of himself. I don't know about that necessarily, but Christian, I think, showed a glimpse of what a bright future he has.
He looked really natural in the screen game as well. I mean, how difficult is that for a young lineman to, understand the responsibilities with the landmarks and really get to that second level responsibility?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point that you make, because it's been something that's taken us a little while. I feel like almost over the last second half of the season here, we've really caught on to our screen landmarks and trusting those with the back, the receivers, the O-line, and to see a guy that missed training camp show up and in his first start be as in tune and detailed as the rest of the group, I thought that was extremely encouraging.
You talk about the specials. How often do they come to you and it's almost too far?
That's every week. Those guys, Chris Spielman's the same way. He's all over the place, and so we got to dial him back a little bit. But the best part of what we do is that the head coach knows no bounds, and so he wants to push the limits as much as anybody. And when you got a guy leading the charge like that, the rest of us are, oh, really? You want to do that? All right, we'll give it a try. So.
How exactly do you say no to Chris Spielman?
Yeah, very gently.
Not necessarily throwing a coach under the bus, but is there a play call you can tell it, like, it's never making your playbook? You just got it, look at it.
Yeah, that happens, but try to do so in an encouraging way. And, oh, yeah, maybe next week, that sort of thing.
Where did creativity come from? Where do you feel like, was it a source, like when you were watching football or a certain, maybe college, growing up or anything, where do you feel like your creativity came from on the offensive side?
Oh, shoot. I don't know how to answer that one, to be honest with you. What we try to do is we try to accentuate what our guys do well, and we got a number of talented individuals. I mean, you take the reverse, for instance, in that Chicago game, and call it right into nickel pressure, and you got just two phenomenal athletes with Gibbs and J-Mo, and they're somehow able to make the exchange and make it work. So when you have guys that it seems like anytime they touch the ball, they understand the concept of the play and they can make things work. You can dabble on the edges and see how far you can take some things. So here's what I know. I mean, the game's been around for a long time. There's 10, 20 years from now, they're going to be running plays that we haven't even seen yet. So millions of plays in this world, and sometimes you cycle back to old school things, and sometimes you try to find what's new and has yet to be done.
Those weeks you've had a deep ball to J-Mo, like right in stride, and early on it seemed like there was a calibration between Jared and that kind of speed. How in tune is that chemistry with them now, and I guess how long did it take to really kind of come together?
2.5 years. I mean, you know, I mean, shoot, we struggled there that first year when he got healthy to truly get on the same page. And as coaches, we saw it. We saw the potential. And with Jared, he's a rhythm quarterback. He needs reps, and just like the great ones do. I mean, he's no different. And so it was just a matter of time, and we knew it was going to click. And when it does click, man, what's better than a 2-play drive? You know, like that's the potential that Jameson has to this offense. And man, it's a beautiful thing to see a post versus single high like that. I know this. It does our offense wonders going into the end of the season here and into the postseason to put that type of stuff on tape.
He's closing in on 1,000 yards. What do you think the upside is for him, you know, down the road?
Yeah. Shoot, I don't know if you can put a number on the limit, but I know he's surrounded by some really good players, and so when you get a bunch of talented guys together, they can do some really special things.
There was some talk kind of right after the Montgomery injury about making sure, you know, Gibbs' workload was managed. He had 23 carries last game. Just curious if you kind of expected or expect that to continue going forward, or I guess what your plan is for that.
Probably, I think less in the total number of carries and more about the reps. You know, I think Scotty said last week we were thinking somewhere in the 40 range, and we really nailed that. And so Jefferson and Craig came in, and we didn't miss a beat when they came in and spelled them for a little bit. And then Vaki came in for the 2-minute drive and did a nice job as well. So I would anticipate a similar rotation going forward.